Hey friends, how are you? I am over here. The kids have gymnastics tonight, and so that's 3 hours of gymnastics, and I'm usually reading a book, which the Guernsey Society and the Potato Peel Pie Guernsey, I'm reading a book. That's usually what I do when we're here. The kids, they bring some stuff that they can play, and they hang out, and it's great. Marcus picked us up a little coffee to make the 3-hour wait just enjoyable as could be. And I decided to sit in the car and have a chat with you guys because I had a good chat with my brother the other day, and he was asking about some things, and it just reminded me of so much. So really, it's amazing how things in your life happen that change the course of your life, and they're like life changing, right? So I was going through kind of thinking through these things that have just been so incredibly life-changing over my whole life. And I won't share every single one, but some of them that really stuck out to me, I made a list of them. Of course I did. And I just stand amazed at how life could have gone so differently had these different things gone differently. Do you know what I'm saying? You make a plan and then, maybe it wasn't God's intention for you and he had something different. And I look now and I can be like, oh, I'm so grateful. Because some of those things would have been crazy. And then some of the things we'll never know. So the first thing I was thinking about, there's some stuff when I was a lot younger that happened that I won't share, but very transformative. Then when I went into 6th grade, I got put in advanced math. I don't know why, but I did. Dr. Mock was my teacher. Doesn't that sound scary? And Dr. Mock was she was a difficult teacher. And I remember the parent-teacher conference after that first quarter, and the parents in there just seemed irate. Like, I was doing hours and hours of homework. I was crying all the time. It was so hard. And supposedly we weren't asking her enough questions, so she didn't know we needed all this help. But we were just scared of her a little bit. She wasn't necessarily mean, but she wasn't sweet and cuddly either. And so that first quarter, I got a D. And then the following 3 quarters, I got C's. And that was me working as hard as I could. But after that, math just sort of made sense to me. Now, geometry will never make sense to me. I think it's absolutely crazy. I know we need it, but let me tell you what, it just doesn't compute up here. But algebra, give me algebra, give me, tangents and whatever. I love it all. So when I got out of 6th grade and I really, really struggled through all of that, I don't know why. I don't know if it was because of Dr. Mock, but I kind of feel like I can go back to that point and say, I think she had a pretty good impact on me. I really kind of fell in love with school stuff. I think I always liked school. The first day of school was always stressful. I was like, how am I going to learn all this stuff? And my dad's like, well, how about you let the teacher be the teacher? But it just felt so overwhelming because they tell you all the stuff you're going to learn for the year and you think, how am I going to learn that? It always works out, doesn't it? And then I got into like 8th grade and then onward, and I just worked my booty off, and I became valedictorian of my high school. There were 3 of us. We had a system at our school where it was just the top people, grade point average, became valedictorian. So there were 3 of us. And I just look back on that and go, I wonder, had I never had Dr. Mock, where I really had to struggle and strive and fail over and over again and just find it so terribly difficult and would that outcome have happened? I don't know, but I kind of think it wouldn't have. So then after I graduated high school, I was planning to go to Dallas for an internship program. It was through the Assemblies of God, and they had places all over the world, lots and lots of places in the United States. And the big one was in Dallas. And so I had met a lot of them, and I kind of just thought, oh man, that'll be cool. It was 9 months of intense discipleship. You were doing hundreds of scripture memorization. You were doing Bible reading. You were doing, you were going on mission trips, and it was just an amazing time. So that was back in the day when email was just sort of coming around, and websites would have emails, but they might not answer those emails. And so I messaged Dallas, and I never heard back from them. And that had been my plan for years, to go there. And I just never heard back from them. my group of friends who had left Minnesota and come to Illinois to start one of these internships called Master's Commission came to Illinois, and then they came back to my home church and said, like, set up a booth, and they were talking to me and they said, Megan, you should come to Illinois. And the only people I knew were this handful of friends that had gone there to start this. And I didn't know anything about the church I was going to go to. I didn't know anything about the program. It was a newer internship. I think it had been around 2 years before me, or maybe even just a year. And I thought, okay. And I did it. And I came here, and there was lots of struggles and lots of difficulties through the years and trying to like find myself and figure it all out, but I never left. And for some reason, I had planned to go 1 year to this internship, move back home, go to North Central Bible University, get a degree in missions and something else, I don't know. And I wanted to be a missionary. I had gone to England, which we'll talk about this in a minute, but I had gone to England twice on a missions trip. I had been to Guatemala, and at that point, yes, I'd been to Guatemala. I'd been to the Dominican Republic. I'd gone to New York on a mission trip. And I fell like deeply in love with England, and we would do school assemblies and talk about God, and we would do stuff around the city and help with the church. And it was like everything my heart dreamed of, right? And so I wanted to do that full time and be a missionary there. So I was going to go get my degree and do all of that. So after my first year of Master's Commission, I decided that I wanted to do another year. And it was totally against the plan that I had planned, right? Going back to Minnesota where my family lived. So instead I stayed another year, and that was like a hard year. I went through a lot of just, I don't know, being 19, a lot happens, and I felt like after that, I didn't want to go home, and everything that I thought I was going to do or wanted to do just sort of changed, and I felt confused. And I just thought, I can't leave. I had made such strong connections with the people here in Illinois, and I wanted to stay, and the church was really important to me. And I stuck around, and it was hard. It was really hard. And I had to learn a lot of life lessons. But had I moved home, I never would have met Marcus. And I'm so, so glad that I stuck around. Now, God maybe would have like figured out a way to get us together. Who knows? But he's really good like that. So I stuck around, and a couple years later, like 6 years later, or no, 5 years later, I did meet Marcus, and then we started traveling. So let's back it up, okay? So that's another big thing. Staying here, met Marcus. We have 5 kids now. We're married. We've been married 13 years, and life is good, and it's been awesome. I'm so glad that happened. I would have been so sad if it hadn't. Okay, back up. Remember I told you about England? I'd wanted to go to England. Well, when I moved to Illinois and I was in my internship, I was really just, when you're young, it's confusing. Like, I don't ever want to go back to that time in my life, ever, ever. It was just hard. But I felt like my heart was still for England, but yet I was confused and I didn't know if it would work out. And I remember being at this outreach that we were doing, and they were having some music playing, and I was just praying, and I was asking God, what should I do? Like, do you want me to go to England? I don't know what to do. I just feel confused. I'm telling you, 30 seconds later, I sat down. It was the end of the music time. And the main pastor that was kind of putting this on got up. His name was Gary Grogan. Pastor Gary steps up 30 seconds later and says to everybody, hey, I've got this pastor friend in England, and he has a church that is looking for an interim worship leader, meaning they want somebody to come lead worship while they find their replacement. I had never led worship in my life. I didn't play the piano. I had never led worship. I liked to sing. I had done theater shows, but that was it. And I thought to myself, I should probably do that. I should call this huge church in England, and with no experience, 19 years old, and I should go be a worship leader there. Yeah, let's check it out. So I called him. We had this conversation, and the man there was very wise, the pastor. He goes, you know what I would suggest that you do? He was so wise. Why don't you find a small church where you can really work on leading worship, where you can, experience that and figure that out. So my home church had this little sister church out in the country, and there was just a handful of people that went there, and they were looking for a worship leader. So I had gone to my pastor. I didn't know about this. And I said, I want to learn how to lead worship, to lead the music part at church. And he said, okay, well, here, I've got this opportunity for you. So I'm going in having had zero experience, people. I was just fresher than fresh. And when I started talking to the pastor of that little sister church, they said, oh, okay, well, if you're going to come do this, we'd also like for you to lead on the piano. And I was like, but I don't actually play the piano. And they're like, that's okay, you can learn. So I did, you guys. I play chords. I can read notes, but it would take me 10 million years to be able to do that. So I play chords, and it was a year of a lot of learning, a lot of growing, a lot of messing up. Like 80% of the time, I would start in the wrong key. I would mess up the notes. My band was just something else, you know. They loved the Lord though, and they were doing what they could do. But it was a trip and a half is what it was. And it's amazing what you'll do sometimes when you're young and kind of stupid and you think, yeah, I could do this. After that year was over, I made the commitment for a year. I was like, I will never do this again. It was humiliating. It was so hard. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing every single time. And then I got on the worship team at like that main church that I had left to go help this little church. And I got more opportunity and more practice. So eventually I had written songs ever since I was like 8th grade. I'd written my own little songs, and I decided to put out a CD. And the CD was just me and a friend of mine that played piano a million times better than I did. He played the piano to my songs. I had it recorded. We had friends that had a recording studio, and I put out this CD, and it was just really simple, but a really sweet thing. And I'm so glad that I did it. Well, right after that, Marcus, I hadn't met him yet. I had seen him before because I worked at Starbucks at the time. I had seen him come in a time or two, and I knew he had a band or was in a band, and I knew that he was a Christian, and I thought he was cute. And I decided to talk to him, and I said, hey, you should, this was in the days of MySpace too. And I said, hey, you should check out my MySpace, because I had already checked out his, duh. And he said, oh yeah? And I said, yeah. And also I just, put out this CD. And he goes, oh really? Do you have a band? And I said, no. Do you want to be my band? Literally, that's one of the first things I ever said to him in the Starbucks line, 5:30 in the morning, because he used to work crazy early over here. Actually, right, I can see where he used to work right here. So I said, do you want to be my band? And he was like, okay. And here's what's crazy. He had a band, written songs. He's like an amazing guitarist, and that everybody was getting married, and like the band dissolved literally at the exact same time that I was looking for a band, because I was starting to play places and I was starting to go to other churches and other events, and I needed somebody to play with me and help me along. That's really how our relationship started. We just traveled around. We went to all sorts of cities around here and other states, and that was a big learning curve too, and trying to figure all of that out, but it was so fun, and we got to know each other, and now look at us. We're all married, but it took a year of doing that before I think we really gave into the whole idea of getting together. So all that to say, I go on a mission trip to England. I fall in love with England. Would I still love to go there? Heck yeah, it would be amazing. But I'm at a different season of my life, and it's okay. But then I get confused. I don't know what to do. Then the pastor stands up and says, hey, I have a friend who's looking for an interim worship leader. If you're interested, here's the information. I call him. He goes, yeah, you're definitely not ready. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's what he should have said. Why don't you get some practice? So I get some practice. I'm humiliated. I think this is the worst thing ever. I don't ever want to do it again. And then I get some more help, and I get better. And then I put out a CD, and then I meet my future husband, and we travel around, and I get to meet people from all over the place, and I have so many opportunities with that, which was really amazing. That never would have happened. It's just like, the one you thought you were going one way, and then these other doors open and you walk through that and you think, this never would have happened in my own plan. but here we are in this other plan. Here's another crazy thing where, you know, just that one little thing changes your whole life. And while Marcus and I were traveling together and we're hanging out, I kind of started to like him, and I thought he kind of liked me, but then I was like, oh, maybe not. So I sent a message to my friend Michelle, not Marcus, but Michelle. And I said, I guess he's not that into me. And Marcus sends me a message back a little while later, and he says, who's the guy? And I'm like, what? And come to find out, I sent that message to Marcus, not to my friend Michelle. And so he was asking me, like, who's the guy? What are we talking about? And there was a whole long conversation about that. And then finally I said, you know, the guy was you. And he said, well, we'll just wait and see what happens. But then he was liking me, and we were liking each other, but it was still another 6 months before we actually started dating. We were just trying to figure it out. He was really different from me, and he's still different from me, but yeah, we complement each other, I think, really, really well. And I told God, because I had like just some bad relationships and things that had happened that I didn't want to mess around. And I was praying, God, I need Las Vegas show lights here. Like, I need to know that I know that whoever I'm going to marry, this is the person. And I felt like I woke up one day and I just knew I wanted to date Marcus. I go to work, and the person that I worked with, I told her about it, and she goes, you have to message him right now. And I was like, okay, because we had kind of talked about dating, and I was like, nah. But then I woke up and it's like I knew that I knew. And that really helped me through some times when I was just so unsure, because we were really different and we couldn't quite figure out how to come together on that. And now I think, oh my word, it's like you could not have given me a better husband. He's just exactly what I need, and better than that. And just all the things that I would want for my own children. You know, I just think, man, this is like, couldn't get any better. It's amazing. But there are hard times, and then, you know, mixed in with all of this stuff. Nothing just comes easy and then one day, oh, it's all great. Yeah. So then, my friend, I had another thing that I thought about that really changed my life. And it was when I started YouTube. We had been thinking about starting a church for a long time. Marcus was credentialed as a pastor. He had gone to school, and in 2020, he graduated with his bachelor's in don't tell him I can't remember what his degree is in. But he just rocked it in school and did great. He was on magna cum laude. He was just top of the top all the time. Didn't even get to do like the official graduation ceremony because of COVID. But we were ready to start a church. And we thought, wouldn't it be funny if they had kind of like a reality show about this? And we talked about it, and we thought, what if we just did our own reality show? And we started a YouTube channel. So it was originally called Planting Birches. If you're newer to me, that's what it used to be called. And it was kind of a play on words. Our last name is Birch. We're planting a church, so planting the birches somewhere, you know. And it was really like a vlogging channel. I was kind of sharing my life, sharing homeschool stuff. And I noticed that the videos where people showed their grocery hauls did really well on other people's channels. And I just thought, should I try that? So I did try that. And slowly but surely, those videos started to do better and better and better. And after a couple of years, one of my viewers actually suggested that I do it like my grocery haul in the store. And I show in the store how I buy groceries and all that stuff. And I was really scared, because I thought, it's one thing to video at home and it's another thing to do it in public. So I called up my sister and I was like, well, you want to go with me? Because I just feel really scared. So we popped over to Sam's Club, and where else did we go? Sam's Club and Meijer. And we did it. And about 3 weeks after I posted it, this video just went wild. And it started getting tons and tons of views. And it is, to this day, the most viewed video on my grocery haul channel video. So months and months later, that was like the end of September is when I posted it. October is when it started taking off. I gained like tons and tons of subscribers from this. I went from 1,500 subscribers after a year of having my channel to like 10,000 subscribers just a few months later. It was kind of crazy. Or was it 5,000? Well, I don't know. Whatever it was crazy. So it really changed my life, right? And then come that next year, was it in March or May? Something with an M. I get a message when I used to be on Instagram. One of my followers messaged me and said, hey, I saw this article about you. And I just wanted to let you know that it was there. And I thought that it was like a scam. So I didn't click on the link, but then I just Googled my name and up pops this article in The Sun, which is like a UK not so great magazine article, newspaper-y thing. Okay, so unbeknownst to me, they wrote an article about me saying that I only spent this much on food every month and that they knew all my kids' names and their ages, and they made it sound like we had gone together to create this article. They had never interviewed me. I didn't know anything about it. Had this person never said anything, I would have never known about it. And I thought, oh, that's so creepy. So that was a Saturday night. Sunday morning, I wake up and I remember saying to Marcus, man, it's so creepy. I feel like my privacy has been invaded. Even though all my stuff's online, it feels weird when somebody puts something out there about you that you don't know about. So that morning, we didn't go to church for some reason, and I don't remember why. But I get this email from Good Morning America. And I was like, well, surely this isn't real. And I Google the person's name, and they're definitely working for Good Morning America. And so I messaged them back and they said, hey, we saw your article in The Sun and we want to do a piece on you. So I explained to them, listen, I go to the grocery store more than once a month, even though I do these once a month grocery hauls. And some of that wasn't true. I mean, it wasn't a bad article. It just wasn't true necessarily, like fully true. So I think we've got to close some things here. There we go. Okay, so Good Morning America does this whole piece on me. It airs on Thursday of that week. Now, they never mentioned my YouTube channel, so it didn't really make an impact on that. But that led to me getting on Fox and Friends and talking about how to save money at the grocery store, how we save money. I started saving thousands of dollars a year by, doing all these different styles of shopping and prepping before I shopped. And so it was able to help a lot of people, which was amazing. And then we did Fox Houston, and I did a local channel too. And I got to go in the grocery store and, do this news channel. And it was just really amazing. It was like so life-changing for me. Well, every time that I would put out a video that was about groceries, my channel would do really well. And anytime I do anything other than groceries, I would lose followers and I wouldn't do as well. And when you're trying to have a business and you're trying to, survive, you kind of want to find the thing that's going to help your business to grow and help your channel to grow. And I knew that people loved the grocery hauls, but I thought, I can't grocery haul every day. I can't do that 3 times a week, always have a grocery haul. That's just not sustainable. I would never eat that much food. There's a lot there to it. So one day, Marcus and I, some of you guys had said, hey, you should go to Costco sometimes. I said, well, Costco's not really near me. So we go to Sam's Club and we go to Aldi and we go to Walmart and Meijer and all that stuff, but Costco's not really around here. And they said, oh, if you get a gift card to Costco, you can go in as a non-member. This was back in the day. They don't allow this anymore, but you can go into Costco as a non-member and, shop and check it out. But you have to get a member to buy the gift card for you to be able to do it. So I asked my father-in-law, who lives kind of close to a Costco, and I said, hey, would you mind picking up a gift card for us? I'll pay you back for it. And we just want to check it out and we'll film it and it'll be great. So we did it. And not only did he buy us a gift card, he decided to buy us a membership, which was crazy. And I thought, oh man, we're only going to go here once. I don't know that this was a good idea. No, it turned out to be an amazing idea. So on the way back from the second time that we went to Costco and showing just what was there, because it was new to us, Marcus and I looked at each other and said to each other, what if our channel became where we showed what was new at the grocery store? Costco, Sam's Club, Aldi. That was the 3 at the time. And I thought, well, why don't we? I mean, that's what people love to see. So right then and there, we decided we're going to change the name from the Planting Birches. It's no longer going to be a vlogging channel. We're now going to be groceries. And there was some ebb and flows in there and trying to figure out kind of our new way of doing things. But now my whole channel is what's new at Aldi, and we've added Walmart recently, and Costco and Sam's Club. And it's completely changed our life to the point that I can make an income on it so well that Marcus has been able to come home and work with me. And so he does the video editing for me. He helps me with different things in the back end of the channel. And then I've gotten opportunities now to do some brand deals, which have been amazing. And I've been able to connect with more of you and changed our life. And I couldn't believe how much it changed our life. And it's just those little things, because I think the whole reason I started doing what was new is I saw somebody do it for a different store that I wasn't going to. And I thought, well, I think I could do that at Sam's Club. That's just down the road for me. I think I could do that. I realized Aldi did once a week where they put out brand new stuff. And I thought, I think I could do this. And it was so amazingly life-changing. And I just thought, wow, that one thing that started years ago, where I showed what was in the grocery store, then grew and grew and grew. It wasn't like this straight line of this happened and then boom, I got to here. It was all this up and down and ebb and flow and figuring things out and trying things and realizing, no, it didn't work. And then doing something else and going, oh, that worked. And then the next time it doesn't work, and you're trying to figure it all out. But it's changed literally everything about our life. And now I get to have another vlogging channel here where you're watching. And that's been so fun to have those two separate things and to be able to just share with you and connect with you and do all of that. It's pretty amazing, you guys. Another thing that changed the trajectory of my life, our children's life, was working for a lady way back in the day. She's my friend. But she wasn't my friend at the time. I was looking for a job and I had always done things with kids. And so I thought this would be really good. And she needed a nanny because she was on bed rest for 10 weeks. She had some kidney stents put in and was having some problems with a pregnancy. They had done adoption, and as of now they have 8 children, but at the time they had 4 and they were having number 5. And because of the way that the kids were adopted, they were all under 3.5 or 4, something along those lines. 5 kids under 5. I can't remember now. But she needed a nanny and I was wanting to do that. So I started working for her, and it really changed my life because, one, I got to see somebody who really enjoyed her children, but also was very balanced in discipline and knew how to run a home and manage a home and keep everything in order. And I got to see that firsthand, and I got to work with her and learn from her. And then she had always wanted to homeschool her kids. Now, growing up, I knew one family that homeschooled, and the 2 boys that were homeschooled, they were not weird. Their parents were probably more weird than they were. And I had no true thought about homeschooling. I went to a public school. Marcus went to a private school. We just, I don't know. It never even occurred to me that homeschooling was an option. So when I started working with her and she had talked about homeschooling her kids, it just opened up this door that I never knew was even there. And it really interested me. I'd always wanted to be a teacher before I wanted to do mission stuff. All throughout my young years, I'd always said, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a teacher. I'd have friends come over and I'm like, let's play school. And I had a girls club, and I was like a serious girls club. This was in elementary school, and they had homework. And then they all quit because they were like, oh, this is just school. I don't want to do school at recess. That's weird. Yeah, you live and you learn, my friend. But she changed kind of my thinking on raising children and my thinking on homeschooling. And it really sat well with me. I thought, I love the idea of being able to teach my own children, to be there to teach them how to read and how to do math and to help them in their weaknesses and to accelerate them in their strengths. And so because of that, when Marcus and I were thinking about getting married and we had talked about that part of having children and all of that, we both agreed that homeschooling was the way that we wanted to go. And so now it's been 9 years of homeschooling, or 8.5 years of homeschooling, and we're still going strong and we plan to continue on. And I think I would have never even considered the idea had I not met Sarah and figured out about the whole homeschooling thing and getting excited about that and just seeing, how incredible it is to be a part of that. So I even got to homeschool my much younger sisters for a while after my mom passed away. She died about 11 years ago. And I mean, that's a whole life-changing thing too. There's a lot of things, but these are just those moments where you don't realize just how impactful these small decisions are. And I think there's tons of decisions that don't lead to these big moments, but then there's these decisions that over time they add up. And it wasn't like, okay, I made this decision and then it was great and everything was good and then now we're here, right? It was, I made this decision and I made this decision, and then 5 years later, after making the decisions, I saw this result from it. Or I invested my time into doing this thing and there was this ups and downs and ebbs and flows, and it resulted in this thing that I could have never even imagined had I tried to, had I even had the umption, the understanding of what was to come. Like, I just had no idea. And I'm wondering, I would love to hear in the comments if you can think of something that it really, really changed your life, and hopefully for the good. We really just never know those decisions. And I think it can help us to trust that whatever comes our way, that God is leading us. And if we'll listen and we'll follow, it's not going to be easy. I think that's the lie, that it's all going to be easy and roses, and whatever it is that happens will just be so smooth and perfect, but it's never that. At least in my experience, it's just been the, whoa. And you want to give up and you want to move back home, and you know, all these decisions that could have been made. But I look back on things and go, wow, I can't believe, like, who would I have been? Where would I have been? I don't know. But I'm so happy that I'm at where I'm at. Like, I'm happy in that. I'm content in that. So it's pretty amazing, you guys. And I'm interested to know what kind of things have happened in your life that have really changed the course of your life, and what has kind of put you in a place where you're like, I just could never have ever imagined it. And here I am. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'm going to go watch my babies do some gymnastics here. I'm going to drink my iced vanilla latte with whipped cream. I don't usually get that. Today was a special day. And you guys take care. I'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing night or day. Toodaloo. Bye, guys.